Hey guys, and welcome to some glorious Immortal Empires early access gameplay. I'm a Rubber Duck War, and today I shall be taking on either Elka or HDS. I can't remember who my opponent was in this game, because this game was like a month ago. I played this a very long time ago, and we couldn't showcase it because it had some of the DLC units in action and like the Chaos rework and stuff, and so I wasn't able to showcase it, but now the time has come. Now, I think on the day of release of this video, everyone shall start releasing DLC stuff. I probably won't be releasing that much of the DLC, simply due to the fact currently I have 1 day a week to play games and 1 day a week to cast the entire week's games, so I don't have time basically to play a load of stuff, and I don't have any replays of much DLC stuff, apart from this one here, of course, featuring the glorious Forsaken, who look phenomenal, by the way. The Khorne Forsaken really are top tier, so I'll show some more DLC stuff when I start getting sent replays in when the game's kind of like fully released and that stuff. But anyway, enough about me, let's get back to the battle. We have the forces of Khorne taking us on here. They've got quite a few cool stuff, and myself, I am going for the Wood Elves. Really been enjoying Wood Elves quite a bit again in action again with the pointy-eared woodland sprites. Now, most of my opponents tend to think that I'm going to go Durfy because I'm kind of notorious for going for a big Durfu situation, and then my opponent brings a load of anti-skirmish and then they get destroyed. My opponent's brought a few tools to deal with Durfy, but it's a bit of a trap here because I don't actually have him. Instead, we've got some skirmish cav, but we are going to be going for more of a traditional WAYWATCHER style of play. Triple WAYWATCHERs. Now, Khorne have access to a crap ton of hounds, furies, flesh hounds. It's really scary stuff, but I still felt up against them. You need the WAYWATCHERs. I think they're really essential up against Khorne in general. Blade Lady in the sky, riding dirty on a dragon, a load of Eternal Guard, make a thin green battle line, and then we've got some Wild Riders in the back with some Glade Riders as well to help protect those WAYWATCHERs while, well, hopefully protect those WAYWATCHERs if at all possible. It's going to be a tough task for them to do, though. I've also got one unit of Blade Singers. I like bringing these lovely ladies into action. They're no war dancers in their design, but they're still pretty cool looking, and they can do really good up against heavily armored foes as well, so I'm expecting good work from them. As for my opponent, he's gone pretty traditional in some aspects and really rogue in others. So he has a load of flesh hounds in general and warhounds just dotted all the way around, hidden across the battlefield in vanguarded situations, as well as chaos furies. Frontline, also pretty traditional. A load of chaos warriors with 110 armor and silver shields. Going to do fantastic against that missile pressure. But then he goes a little bit rogue in the back here, and I was speaking to my opponent whilst we were playing, and he brought the Blood Brute Behemoth, who can indeed be bought by Khorne, and there's a few units in the game here who now have kind of like crossed over to multiple factions, and it's really quite exciting and fun to see. But yeah, the Regiment-Renowned Gorgon can be picked by Khorne. My opponent picked him in a kind of way, I guess, to deal with Durfu, and dragons and stuff he'll also be good against, but he does lack armor, so a bit of a pincushion, unfortunately. He has some Forsaken as well. He has a Herald, and in the distance, he has the Skull Crushers of Khorne. So a nice, fast rush army with a load of speedy elements to whip around my flanks. Now, we're going to reposition our own battle line. We are going to start to poke forward with the Glade Lord. The cavalry move up as well. And though the Glade Riders with Hagbane tips may be bow units, I'm predominantly going to be using them to protect the WAYWATCHERs as well. But the extra missile pressure can be quite handy indeed. So we open up a few shots there onto the Chaos Warriors. Apologies about the camera jump in there. My mouse does that sometimes. It's a weird thing it does. But the Glade Lady is firing some shots now, but I believe we're going to go for a cheeky net play maybe onto the Chaos Warriors. So 96 Chaos Warriors get roasted, bathed in the noxious breath of the mighty Forest Dragon, the coolest looking of all the dragons, down to 68 models and significant HP reduction. WAYWATCHERs open fire on the Chaos Warriors. Now, they may have a bucket ton of armor and shields, but hey, I may as well use the ammunition because it's going to be hard to protect my WAYWATCHERs, and I want to get some value where possible. And if we can really whittle down my opponent's front line, it's going to be much easier in the latter stages of the battle to actually keep the WAYWATCHERs alive and healthy. Looks like Warhounds are starting to kind of come together on this right-hand side. So we have 4 units all amassing. I can bring my cavalry over to deal with them. WAYWATCHERs start poking down the Skull Crushers, who got a little bit too close there. We're going to be forcing them away. Furies do bomb rush forward, and the Skull Crushers taking significant damage there after a few loose volleys from the WAYWATCHERs. Now, the cavalry is retreating. We're falling back to our own Glade Riders as well as the Blade Singers. We're going to move in to try to intercept all of these hounds, and it's about to get messy. It's going to be an absolute flustercluck. My opponent does fall back with his hound play, which is quite nice though. It's dragging a lot of my troops over to one side. Another big breath attack comes in, not as effective as the first one. Holy, when did this come in? You guys see that noxious gas? A reduction in 30% melee attack and 30 reload skill? What? I did not know about this change. That is awesome. That's not always been in the game. I may be going a little bit crazy here, but that seems really cool. That the Forest Dragon can do that now. It's also a debuff. That is dope as hell. I didn't know this. Awesome stuff. So, anyway, the WAYWATCHERs are going to be focusing down the Blood Bruiser to this point, pin in him with as many arrows as physically possible. Wild Rider's also looking to try to sort out the back, and look how quickly the Blood Brute gets taken down by the WAYWATCHERs. Now, we do have cavalry sneaking around the flanks. The hounds are being forced off by our cavalry at the moment, and the loyal Eternal Guard are pinning the enemy in place. Looks like the Blood Brute is indeed going to be going down here. The Skull Crushers are in the back line. They're about to crash into the WAYWATCHERs, but no, I shall not have it. Prey of enough Raymer comes down, pinning them in place, and look how quickly they are eviscerated. The dragon gets involved, and looks like our Wild Riders are attempting their best to fend off the enemy Furies. And for now, the WAYWATCHERs are alive, but beautiful hound play by my opponent whips them up and around the flank. Jumps on top of the WAYWATCHERs, and also my boys are starting to get a little bit compromised. Blaze Singers do chew through a decent amount of hounds relatively quickly there, and they're going to be useful against the majority of what my opponent has left. The Bloodproof Behemoth has indeed been forced away here. WAYWATCHERs just eviscerating the Skull Crushers, desperately trying to escape, but you can see their bodies going up in flame here. Glade Riders going to ensure they disappear off the battlefield for good. Now, the Glade Lady jumps in the back. She should be able to tear out the Chaos Warhounds quickly. Frontline is going okay for us. I mean, we have Glade Riders in combat with Forsaken, which isn't probably most people's definition of okay, but elsewhere the Eternal Guard are doing good, holding back the enemy. I don't expect them to win, but with the Blade Singers coming in, it should be rather nice. And you can see the Forsaken attempting their best, but in come those Blade Singers, dancing with their blades. More of an art form than straight up war here. And I love some of their animations. It's really cool stuff, and I expect them to do relatively decent up against the Forsaken. Blade Lady is back up in action. You can see the slumberous movement of the dragon there. Quite beautiful indeed. Going to be rotating around, protecting the WAYWATCHERs. Enemy General does push forward here. He gets Foe Seeker on him. That's going to allow him to hunt down the Devil WAYWATCHERs. Where's the third unit? Maybe they got forced off the battlefield and taken down. Wild Rider's doing a decent job of protecting there. And now the Glade Lady, she's seen that her precious WAYWATCHERs are being jumped, decides to land and become a bit of a nuisance for this enemy general in general. So a few shots do pop in. The Herald of Khorne is still on the warpath, though. I'm trying to pull back cavalry to pin him in place. Elsewhere, the Blade Singers are getting their blades damp with the blood of the heretics. Also, you can get dragged down here. Eternal Guard doing a relatively decent job as well all round. Wild Riders are on approach as well. And it looks like we've got a few more shots coming in the rear. Glade Riders are poking the Chaos Warriors. A Horn of Khorne goes down. Not going to be enough to save them, though. Army Losses kicks in, and it shall be a glorious victory for the Woodland folk. We're going to celebrate with a big breath attack here, which is going to apply the debuff, which is really awesome. That's something new every day. I didn't realize that was in the game. Was that always in there? Let me know in the comments down below if that was a thing. I swear it never used to give a debuff. And considering Forest Dragons were considered some of the weaker dragons, despite the fact their design is by far the best, that could be a nice boon to them, for sure. Because I think their breath attacks are a little bit weaker than Star Dragons and Moon Dragons and so on. Unfortunately, this game was done on a previous version of the game, but I've just kind of kept it because we weren't able to showcase, you know, the Forsaken units and so forth. So we can't see the damage value. It just says 0. In fact, it says crush and defeat for us, which doesn't seem to be what actually happened. But I guess history has been rewritten. The WAYWATCHERs all did amazing, basically, is the thing you need to know here. They rinsed the enemy Behemoth, and it was really good fun. I really do enjoy playing the WAYWATCHER Gambit with Wood Elves. It's so high risk, high reward. It can go really terribly early on. It's just like game over. But other times it can pay off. And the dragon had some really juicy breath attacks indeed. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a big fat juicy thumbs up, subscribe to the channel as well, and leave a comment of what you thought of the battle. Once again, apologies, there won't be that much DLC content despite it being all loads of new awesome stuff, unless I get sent replays. I think Battlesphere is sending me some replays in, so if it happens to feature some of the DLC stuff, I will showcase it. If not, you'll probably have to wait, unfortunately, till the game's out and people can actually send me replays once more. But I'll still have Immortal Empires content coming up for you guys. Feel free as well to chill out in the description down below, where you can find there's a link to Patreon, Discord, as well as, I believe, Twitch. So until next time, guys, peace, and as always, stay awesome.